Hello, I'm Graham Fitch and I'm bringing you this video on fingering for Pianist Magazine from Steinway Hall in London. And in this video I'm going to look at fingerings for scales, also chords, arpeggios, chords. I'm going to look a little bit at octaves and what else? Some trill fingering that just for you to experiment with. Let's start off with the scale fingerings. Now the traditional scale fingerings that C.P.E. Bach outlined way back, and I do talk about this in my article if you'd like to check it out, based on the idea of a short group in alternation with a long group. So if I look at my C major fingering, let me show you in the left hand going down. 1, 2, 3, that's my short group. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 is my long group. And then the pinky at the bottom at the end of the scale. So right hand it's the other way around. Short group again, long group, short group, long group. That's fairly easy to figure out. When you put them together, just notice that the third finger comes together. Third fingers come together in both hands. 3, 3. Thumbs come together on the key notes. So if I'm doing a 4-octave scale, the thumbs will coincide on all the key notes except for the very first and the very top where my pinky is being used. You'll also notice patterns emerging, 2 with 4, 4 with 2. This thumb with the second finger here, sorry, the other way around. Yeah, thumb in the right hand against the second finger in the left hand, and then reversed, second finger in the right, thumb in the left. So once you've got the idea of the patterns, you can use the C major fingering for C minor, both forms, the melodic minor. Now, this is good news. You get really good value out of that fingering. It also works for D major, D minor, both forms of minor, E major, G major and minor, A major and minor. Not a B or F, the slightly different fingerings. Let's have a look at B flat major fingering for a moment. You will notice if you play the left hand that your left hand starts with the short group, then there's the long group, short, long. That's all very nice. Now the right hand, people get confused because they think, oh, the fingering patterns all change now. It's not. It's C major fingering, but starting on starting actually on the end note of a long group. So if I just play my first B flat, now 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see it's exactly the C major fingering? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, short group, long group. So now let me add my first note, short group, long group. Do you see how that works? It's very neat. Just one little thing that I think will help with scale fingering. B flat major in the left hand, 3, 4. That fingering is the same for E flat major, 4. Also A flat major, 3, 4. And D flat major. So if you're learning your scales from scratch, very good idea to practice the left hand of those 4 scales together so that you really can transfer the skills that you learn from one scale to the others in the same family. Speaking of families, arpeggios also divide themselves up into families, but I've forgotten one thing I was going to show you, which is a non-traditional fingering for scales. And there are a few resources that I offer in the article for where you can find some of these alternative fingerings. Let's look at F minor harmonic in the left hand. Traditional fingering is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. An alternative that works really nicely with the shape of the hand, long fingers on black keys, short fingers on white keys. What I'm doing here, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. The 4 likes to go on a black key, 4, 3, 2, 1, so that I put my thumb on the G rather than the 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 likes to go on a black key. So there are alternatives to the traditional fingerings that you might like to look at. Let's quickly look at double note scales. I'm going to show you the normal standard fingering that I like to use, which is again based on the same principle, short group followed by a long group. There's my short group. Now a double thumb, 2, 1, 3, 1. So if you're learning these scales from scratch, just make a break between the short group and the long group. short group, long group, that note by itself or that pair by itself. And then when you put them together, legato, you won't be able to get a legato between each pair, but you'll be able to get a legato between at least one note of each pair. There I can join both, there I can join both. Here I have to let go of 3. There I have to pick my thumb up. Here I have to let go of the lower finger. So I create the illusion of a legato. Moskowski, in his wonderful book, School of Double Notes, do check it out. You can get it online, or you can buy a hard copy. School of Double Notes. He has beautiful fingerings for each scale, depending on which octave you play them in, and depending how many octaves you play. But he has a lovely legato fingering, which I'm going to show you, that enables a physical legato between each pair, each note of each pair. Let me show you C major right hand. 3-2, 4-1, 5-2, 3-1, 4-2, 3-1, 4-2, 5-1. So we're using pairs like 5 and 1, which we wouldn't normally think of. Do check out the Moskowski. Just one little idea about chromatics. The basic chromatic fingering we learn is 1-3-1-3, isn't it? 1-3, 1-3, 1. And then second finger on the second of the white note pair. So when we get to the EF, 1-3, 1-3, 1-2, 3-1-3, 1-3, 1-2. But a more advanced fingering, much quicker, is 1-2-3-4 wherever possible, except where to use 1-2-3-4 would land you up with a thumb on a black key, in which case use a group of 3. So 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4, so that when I come to this spot in my Pathetique sonata, just at the end of the grave, here's the fingering in action. 4-3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, 3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, 3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, 3-2-1, 3-2-1, 5. And that you'll find is much quicker than the 1-3-1-3, which feels kind of clumsy. Just quickly about chords. I'm talking about 4-note common chords. It's always going to be 1-2-5. The choice is it 3 or is it 4? Now, in the old days, when I was being taught, it was 4 in C major in the left hand. It was 4 there. It was 4 here. It was 3 here. D major was 3. Nowadays, we're more attuned to the fact that hands are different, shapes, different sizes. So the option is it 3 or is it 4? You have to experiment. And I find, let me take C major, let me take D major, left hand root position. So for me, it's definitely a 3. If I were to put a 4, I feel I've got a stretch there and a scrunch here. So I want to try and keep the hand as evenly spaced as possible. So for me, that's definitely a 3. If I'm playing, let's say, this progression in my right hand, D major to a D minor, back to a D major, I would, if I were playing those chords in isolation, I would use a 4 for both of them. But in that context, I would probably use 4-3-4. It's up to you again. It's personal. I'm going to show you a wonderful fingering for the Liszt sonata, the Busoni tripod fingering. Now, bar 87. It creates a fantastically brassy sound. What I've got is 2 on the bottom, thumb in the middle, 4 on the top, and then 5. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5. It means my hand can stand up. It's a very Russian concept, the straight fingers for the brassy sound. Do try it. It's really good. Let me very quickly show you trill fingerings. I'm going to show you the 1-3-1-3 for a nice fast cadential trill. Low wrist rotary movement, much stronger than 2-3-2-3. Now you often find in Bach and in Baroque this sort of pattern. You've got a trill on the top and a held note underneath. Very difficult with conventional fingering. If I put a 2 on the long note and trill between 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, I can go on forever. Let me do that again. No discomfort at all. When it comes to octaves, I have done a video on octaves, so do check that out. The question is it 5 or is it 4-5? Just a very quick answer to that. It depends on the context. If I want a legato context and I'm able to put 4 on the black key without twisting my hand at the wrist, then I can go ahead and do that, because my hand is big enough to manage that. So when I play Papillon, I do use even some 3s, but a word of caution, be really careful with that. If you find that using 4 or 3 pushes the hand into this position, do not do it, because that's injurious. Use all 5s. It's perfectly okay to use all 5s. So I hope that gives you some ideas that you can experiment with, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.